Alright guys, ladies, gents, whoever it is, this video is about using this, the Casio 9750, to do the prompts. What it does, lid slides off the bottom. Notice there are grooves on the side here by the numbers. Take the lid, slide it back onto it right there. No hard pushing or anything, it fits right into those grooves. So make sure you do it that way. We're going to use this calculator to do those problems that I did in the sample or in the probability lesson number 5 for statistics on this unit. So the first thing you do is when you turn on the calculator and you hit the on button right here, it's going to show up this menu right here, the one that says main menu. Now, your calculator might have a different spot highlighted right now, but we need number 2 highlighted. Number 2 is the one that deals with statistics. As you can arrow onto it, or you can hit the number 2. If you arrow onto it, then you got to hit enter. And when you do that, it's going to bring you right to this menu right here. Now, I made sure I brought in these buttons underneath. Each one of these represents one of those F buttons right underneath. So underneath the screen, there's F1 through F6. Each one of those matches up to each one of those. So I noticed that I had values in my L2. So the first thing I did was hit this F6, which says go to the next set of menu list. And then across the bottom, notice here, right there at that one, in the middle there, is del A. I can del individual items, or I can del A. So I arrowed over onto the 4.4, and then I hit del A, and it asked me if I wanted to delete all of them, delete the entire list, and I hit F1 to say yes, delete the entire list. Okay, that brought me back to the main screen, everything cleaned out. So then the very thing you do is you get into L1, you get in that arrow over to the L1 into that very first spot, and you've got to type in all of the numbers that we have. These are all the numbers that we have right here. We got to type all those in. So that's the first thing I do is in that L1 list, I type them all in. When I type in the 350, I get that right there. Now they're all set there. Now what's really cool about this is notice right here above F2, it says calc. So if you hit F2, it's going to bring you into this menu right here. Well, that's fantastic. Reg is about doing regressions. We won't worry about those. We want to do this one var stats. But we want to make sure that the calculator is set up to do it right. So the first thing you do is you hit this F6, and it's going to bring you into this list here. The big thing to notice is, what is that last number there? Right there for a 1 var spot, it has to be a 1 because that's where our numbers are. So L1. I hit that, and then I hit enter, and then I hit, I hit the exit button, and it brings me right back to this screen. And now I just hit the F1, and when I do that, I get all these displays to pop out. Now, the first one is the first screen I get before anything happens. The second screen is what happens when I scroll down. The third and fourth screens are what happened as I continue to scroll down. Okay, so now here's the thing to know. This very top one, this X bar thing, is the mean. Woohoo! Got it. Fantabulous. Okay, this one right here is our standard deviation. That's great. That's fantastic. We got 2 of them. Okay, notice down here, we got min, first quartile, median, third quartile, max. So we should be able to calculate the range ourselves. We have to do the subtraction. We should be able to do the inner quartile range ourselves, do the subtraction. We should be able to find the outliers pretty simply from here as well, because we have all those numbers listed right there. Now, what's really great about the Casio as compared to, say, a TI is this part right here. This part here shows us what the mode is. Now, it told us, and this is the tricky part, it said here, let me go down here. Okay, for here it says mode n equals 7, and the frequency of the mode is 1. So there were 7 numbers that showed up, quote, most often, but they all came up with a frequency of 1. That tells me in this case there's no mode. All 7 numbers I typed in are all different. So in this case, I would say there's no mode. So we can't do that on here. Now, if you had another set here, it might only have 2 or 3 numbers, and it'll tell you how many mode numbers you have and what that frequency is, meaning how many times did they show up, which is really useful information. So we have all this. Now we have standard deviation, but we don't have variance. Well, all I got to do is take that number and square it. So if I take the 50 and square it, I've got the variance. So another one I have to calculate myself, but that's easy math. I mean, that's just taking the square. Now, I can also have the calculator do the mean deviation. It's not listed here, but I don't want to go through all that work. So here's how I do it. Okay, so I got the list. I arrow up onto L2, which is what I did here, all right? Now, on L2, I hit the VARS button. The VARS button. See that right there? VARS. And when I do that, it gets me this list right here. Okay? Those are all the different variables that can pop out. Now, I want one that's in the statistics line. And when I go into statistics, it's going to give me this menu list right here. And I want the one in this X value. I just want the ones from X values, because that's what we had up there. Because I am looking for this guy right here. It's the X bar one. That's our mean. That's the value I want. Because I got to do in here, I got to take each of these numbers and subtract them from the mean. So that's what I do. I go in there, I get that, I hit the F2 button, and it brings up an X. I put the minus in there. Well, now I got to get the list. So to get the list, I got to hit this OPTN button on the calculator. That's for options. When you bring that up, it gives you this list of stuff right over here. Okay? So there's list, and there's complex, and there's calc, and there's all those kind of things. We don't want to, we just want the list. So I hit the F1 for list, and it brings me to this. I didn't see much of a change, but 191 is the list. So then I'm going to hit F1 again, and then I'll type in the 1. That gets me right here. So I got X bar minus list 1 in my L2 column. I hit enter, and it flips out all of this stuff right here. Notice I still have the list stuff across the bottom. Okay, so what I do is I arrow up onto the 3, and I don't want list. I want to go back to the main screen. Oh, I got those two in reverse order. Okay. Let me do this real quick. That should be up there. That should be down here. Okay. Because I do want the list. I want that list, but in the list, I want to go to calc again. Okay, there's that calculate stuff. And this time I want number. And what number do I want? I want the ABS. I want the absolute value. Remember, that's what we had to do. We wanted the absolute value. So I do ABS, and then I hit exit. Well, anytime you got to try to get back to menus, you hit exit. I hit the ABS, and then I got to go back to the list stuff. So I get back to that list, and I hit the list. And I get the list 2 in there, and I hit enter, and it brings it in right here. And I've got all these numbers here in list 3. Now, to figure out the mean deviation, all I got to do is find the mean of this set of numbers right here. So what do? I get all the way back to the main menu list, and I hit calc, and I do my 1 var is where I'm on, but I make sure I hit set again, because now I need to make sure my 1 var stuff is in list 3. Notice I put a 3 there. Okay, so then I got back to my main menu, and I hit the 1 vars, I hit the F1, and it gave me a list, and right here is my mean deviation. So that's how you can do it on the Casio. If you have questions, talk to me, kind of review this a little bit, but that's how you can do it. All right, good luck.